He's gonna be there. Top here, and here. Hi, guys.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. When it's time to start, we'll have you guys sit up front.
Okay.
Our friendly neighborhood paper person is going to be the person that asks you the questions, and your name is in front. There's a microphone for each one of you. I'm going to show you that. You got one that was for you. So you've got a microphone.
Yeah.
Right here. Got water and a microphone right here, and that's on. If you don't want it on when you're not talking, you can turn it off. Yeah, the greenness means it's on. One of them doesn't work. It's better today. That's okay. That's one that doesn't work. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Yeah, that works. But it doesn't turn off. Crap. What's this? Is this one working? Is this one working? No. This one's not working. I don't know how, I can't, change them. Huh? This one right here isn't working. Whoever's sitting here is not going to have a microphone. Well, they're only seeing one at a time and they share it out. Is this one working? Huh? That one working? Hello? It's working. Everybody wake up. That one's working. This one's not. Is this one working now? Okay, this one you just can't turn off. Whoever's sitting here is going to have to not be able to say things under their breath. Get caught like I do.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Keep them busy.
Now I got it. No. Giving me something to do. Yeah, we'll see. I said as soon as I move all these chairs, then everybody will quit coming. It's like church. Everybody sitting in the back row.
We could have a few seconds. Okay, you're still seeing the slide. 40 seconds. Okay, they just did that. Oh, okay.
I guess we're gonna have to turn our chairs.
One, three, no.
For satellite site.
And I'm already getting.
Are you? Well, that was signatures. So you got to get this. Ballot box is not.
I'm not that. I'm not People run out here and fight us.
Well, and it creates me nervous about election workers. You have to check that like every 4 hours. There's all kinds of regulations for it. It's really a lot.
What's up, Mike?
No, why not?
Oh, it's all free. Really? Five people running. 50% plus one vote. I imagine.
There's front row seats up here, guys. They're the nicer chairs.
Circles.
Gotta go.
Really? On Friday?
Yes.
Do you need a pad or anything? Jay.
Yes, you can.
Do you want a pizza?
Never done this before.
I got this almost.
Oh, you have?
Good to meet you, sir. Are you ready for the water? Good. So I want to tell you, when I lose draw or whatever, I'm going to be behind you and I'm going to be working with you and help things out. And best of luck. This ain't it. I ain't going to this Saturday. I'm good.
I met you through the emergency.
I'll use this one. Okay, welcome everybody. Just a real quick thing. We have bathrooms out here if you need them, and there is a water fountain. There's some cups there. Remember, kindness matters, and I'd like for everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So you have the city council people in front of you. Over here on the corner, we have our great person from the Daily Gate City, and he is going to be the moderator, and I'm turning it over to him.
All right, good evening, everybody. Glad to see the turnout here. I'm Joe Benedict. I'm with the Daily Gate City, moderating this for the Keokuk Area Chamber of Commerce. So welcome to the Chamber of Commerce Forum for the Keokuk candidates for City Council and Mayor after the City Council one. We'd like to begin by thanking our candidates for running for such an important position and attending the event this evening. We would also like to thank the Chamber for organizing the event, the city for letting us use the City Hall here and the council chambers, and for recording the event that's going to be on the Chamber of Commerce YouTube channel. It's going live now, right?
Correct. We're live.
It's live now, and then it'll be put on as a recording, so you can watch it later if you'd like. This evening, we're holding this forum so the candidates can introduce themselves and answer several questions related to issues related to the city. We'll allow the candidates a minute to introduce themselves, and then each question, they'll get 90 seconds and a minute for closing statements. Candidates will be required to stop speaking at the sound of the bell, or I guess we have the card here.
Yes. Or me saying stop.
Connie will scream at you. I don't know. We'll ask the audience to put their phones on silent, remain silent during the forum, and conduct themselves in a professional manner. Candidates have agreed to ground rules, and we've drawn names for the seating here, and we'll give the first answer or question to each person. I'll move down the line with each question so everybody gets a chance to be first. So if everybody's ready to go, we'll begin. We'll begin with Ethan for our first question here. What specific experience? Oh, I'm sorry. Introductions. I already messed up. We'll let Ethan begin with introductions. We'll go down the line, and then we'll start with questions.
Hi, I'm Ethan Glasgow, and I am currently running for First Ward City Council. I just thought it would be a good time. It's a really good time for some change to happen and make some stuff happen. Through the eyes of a 21-year-old, maybe it opens it up and you guys can think about your family and your kids and everyone growing up, what kind of futures they could have and where they're going to live.
Todd Marshall, City Council Ward 1. I already talked to Ethan and I've already said to him, I said, whoever wins, loses, or whatever, I'm going to be behind Ethan. I'm going to work with him. We're going to point out things. We're going to make things maybe move at a little bit better pace. And really proud of what the council has done here. I just want to continue doing it for the citizens of Keokuk, Iowa. Thank you.
My name is Dan Tillman. I am currently the 5th Ward Council member, and I am running for re-election. I have, my wife and I bought our house in '05, so we're not going anywhere. We've been here a long time. We own a business here in town, and we're rooted in the church and the community. I like to think that we have made some great strides, but we've also got a lot coming. There's some challenging questions and some challenging decisions that the next council is going to have to make. I will second what Tim said, or what Todd said, is for one, I believe it's in God's hands, but if I get reelected, I'm going to do everything I can to continue to be the best council member I can. If I don't get reelected, then I will stand behind the one that is.
Oh, the light. Hi, my name is Jigar Patel. I go by Jay, and I've been in this community for the last 20 years. I raised two kids over here, and I love this town, love this city. Everybody's been really nice since I moved here, and I just want to see town move forward. And even if I don't get elected, I would like to work with everybody and still get involved more in the community. I want to give more time back, actually. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Matt Van Berkom. I'm running for 5th Ward. I've spent the last 18 years in Keokuk. I'm running because I believe that public service is a duty, not an option. Born and raised small town Iowa, my wife and I have chosen to make Keokuk our home and raise our son here. I began my public service serving in the Iowa National Guard with deployments to Afghanistan, multiple stateside deployments for emergency disaster relief. For the past 18 years, I've served in law enforcement here in the city of Keokuk and with the County Sheriff's Department. I believe we're at sort of an inflection point. As Dan said, we have some tough decisions to make on the city council. I believe we have to balance the have-tos of the city versus the wants and needs of the citizens. Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll get going with the questions here. Question number 1, back to Ethan. What specific experience, personal or professional, prepares you to serve on the Keokuk City Council?
Well, I've grown up here my whole life, been around the area in the community, and I work in this town. I spend my dollars in this town. You know, I work right down the road, and I see the highs and the lows of this town, and I see where we can make some change and help everyone out. So we're all just a tight-knit community, and I just think that really what we should do is work as a team, and I feel I'm a great team player, and I'm always willing to work to make sure that this town will have complete success.
In my previous years, I worked in a union and I was a steward and pretty active and negotiated a lot of things. And it's a tiresome job, but it's well worth it in the end. Just like this one here, I just retired in the first of the year. So it was time for me to step up even a little bit more than what I have, and started coming to council meetings and just talking to a lot of people. And I just want to be involved, and I'm going to do the best job that I can do, and going to be pretty transparent. I'll be going back to the neighborhoods where we're going to be doing some improvements and showing them what the council can do through time, through budget, And so, and I was also a safety director, and seen a few horrific things. And it's just always been that safety is number one. It doesn't matter how much we can put out or whatever. It's safety and quality, and we'll be doing that for the citizens of Keokuk. Thank you.
So I've been, like I stated earlier, I've been on city council already for a number of years. So I'm familiar with how the city council works, how government works, how the meetings work. I also, as I mentioned earlier, my wife and I own a business, so we're very grounded in Keokuk. We also understand how business works. Money doesn't grow on trees, so we all want something, but sometimes you have to pay a little more to get that. If you read my article in the paper, I don't like the higher fuel prices. I don't like the higher tax prices. I don't like the higher milk prices, but I pay those because I want to drive my truck. You know, I pay to go to the gym because I want to stay fit. I want to stay in shape, but that all comes at a cost. And that's the thing that we have to remember as a city, that because of our budget right now and our financial state right now, as I stated earlier, there are going to be some tough decisions to make. It's not all roses. We can't make everybody happy, but we do know that to fix anything, we're going to have to pay for that. And that money's got to come from somewhere. And that's the bottom line. And you also need to remember that everybody up here at City Council, when we make a decision, it affects us too. Thank you.
Well, as I've said before, I've been in business here for 20 years. I own several businesses, started from actually closed down businesses, brought back to life. So I'm passionate about actually financials and all that stuff. So I want to make sure the city is going right. Money spent wisely, and it's not wasted or anything like that. So I just want to work with everybody in town and see what's needed. Obviously, safety, streets, bringing in small businesses, tourism, that will grow the town as far as local establishment that they would frequent and stuff like that. So that's my main goal.
As I stated in the introduction, worked in law enforcement in Lake County for 18 years. For 17 of it, was on the overnight shift. I made countless critical decisions, life and death decisions with little oversight, little backup. I always made those decisions thinking what is best for the safety and trust of the community. That's what I will bring to the city council. I recognize that there are significant financial challenges that our city faces. And I will always approach those with a pragmatic and realistic approach, and communicate that back to the people I serve, so they can have realistic expectations of what they can and can't get out of the money and effort that they put into the city. I'm not running because I think I have all the answers. I'm running because I want to work together and listen to people. I think that as a councilman, my main objective and my main priorities be that point of contact between the city government and the people I serve, and to better communicate the needs and wants of both entities between the two of them, versus just seeing an article on Facebook or an article in the newspaper and getting a quick summation of it. I want to better communicate that stuff before the 11th hour decision is made and everybody panics and had no idea anything was coming. I want to facilitate better communication between those entities.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll go with question number 2. Todd's going to start that one. Do you have ideas that would help to balance the city's budget while addressing the many demands such as housing, infrastructure, redevelopment, public safety, and while holding the line on taxes and fees? Yep, to you, Todd.
Yeah, one of my ideas is to look at the homes that are getting run down, see what hasn't been paid for a couple years, and get to that home before it gets to a point where we have to tear it down. I want to involve Keokuk school system Southeastern Community College and to be involved in the grant work and work with the banks all the way up to demolition to basic wiring, basic plumbing, because it's just something that we don't have in our school system right now. Yep. And what else was it?
Infrastructure redevelopment, public safety, while holding the line on taxes and fees.
Well, you know, all of us know that we have to pay a little bit more taxes to have something done. It's just like this, just what we just passed on the sewer. And so, the city doesn't run on nothing. So, I mean, we all have to do our part. Like Dan has said, we have to pay taxes just like everybody else. I would like to see riverfront more activities as far as, you know, there's a few that we can address. There was the fish, what I talked with Corey Samuels, the fish festival, maybe flying kites, getting kids more involved in stuff that they do outside. Try to get them off their computers and getting them involved.
You can finish your statement, but you're at this.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you.
So to help city budget, for one, I'd like, you know, we're going to make some tough decisions. One of the things we just did, he mentioned the sewer, that the bottom line for that, or the goal for that, is to bring homeowner taxes down. What you may not realize is right now, majority of our tax money, or actually most of our tax money, comes from property owners. So Keokuk's got close to 10,000 people, but about half of them live in rental houses or apartments. So they don't pay property tax, which puts the burden on half the town instead of all of the town. One of our main reasons for doing the sewer tax was because it gives, for one, it gives everybody a chance to have a piece of the pie. If you're paying that, now you can legitimately say, I'm helping pay for the city's budget, because now there is actually money that you're putting for that. That is one of the things that we did to try to help, because if we can do that and we can generate enough money through that, we can potentially lower our tax levy. The other things would be just to cut the budget and cut some corners where we potentially can. Maybe stretch our public safety vehicles and our city vehicles out another year, maybe another year and a half. You know, give them a little longer to where now this year we won't spend that extra money to buy new vehicles. Thank you.
So as I said, if it's on. My main goal is basically like make sure that we have small businesses coming in where a lot of empty buildings sitting in downtown side, that's fixed properly and all that. And we do have a higher property taxes and stuff, I think, in my opinion, and see if we can get in there, but look at the budget and see how that works, basically. And obviously fix infrastructure for cities, streets and stuff like that. I've never done this before, so I don't know, but once I'm in, I can make a better judgment of things, how the budget works, how money's spent and stuff like that, basically.
Could you repeat the question for me?
Sure. Yeah, if anybody needs the question repeated, just ask me. Do you have any ideas that would help to balance the city's budget while addressing the many demands such as housing, infrastructure, redevelopment, and public safety, while holding the line on taxes and fees?
I think with all of that, that could be the entire forum, just on those questions: infrastructure, public safety, budgetary concerns. I think when the city revenues are flat and declining, we have to prioritize our spending just like a household budget. When money gets tight, you don't cut your homeowner's insurance, you don't stop paying your mortgage, you stop eating out, you stop going out for coffee. We have to look at that discretionary spending in our city budget the same way. You know, the city equivalent of the mortgage and the homeowner's insurance is public safety, water and sewer, essential infrastructure. Once those adjustments are made, we can look at that discretionary spending and see what cuts can be made there before we look at cutting those other, making cuts to those other critical programs. Again, the transparency and communication with the population is critical there so the public can understand why or why not cuts are being made or money is being spent. I understand somebody mentioned, stretching out police vehicles, for example. Well, Keokuk's a pretty high crime area ratio-wise. We need a strong, robust police department to keep us and our property safe. Using these approaches, we can make sure that we are safe and remain functional and solvent as a city.
All right, the next question we'll start with Dan.
Wait, did Ethan answer that question?
Oh, did Ethan? I'm sorry, Ethan. Go ahead.
I think we need to, it can help the situation by if we just can clean the town up and get half of everybody, like you said, half the people pay rent and all that and don't have to pay property taxes and stuff. If we can clean up those empty lots, get the houses that are empty, get people where they need to be, it will kind of start working all together. You'll see, prices, stuff going down, a tighter community, better things getting done. And I just think we need to watch where the money's going, make sure it's going where it needs to go, get it done, move on. It'll all connect in the end, but there's a lot that we could hit on. We do it all night, but I think it's just something that we need to all watch. Thanks.
All right, now Dan, for question number 3 here. With Keokuk's declining population and economic changes, what ideas do you have to attract jobs, especially for young people, and retain residents, and what incentives could be offered?
Can you repeat the last part of that?
What would we do to attract jobs, especially for young people, retain residents, and what incentives could be offered?
Okay. Well, as far as our population, we are declining statewide, and actually that's an ongoing thing everywhere. But for us, some of the things we're already doing, I'd like to continue to do, like the Riverfront Trail. Some of the things, because we've got a lot to offer. Keokuk is the only town in the state of Iowa that has a national cemetery. We had 4 hospitals, I think, during the Civil War. We're a major. We've got the first hydroelectric dam that was ever put in. And so we've got a lot of history. We've got a lot of draw. We just need to put that out there a little more and get that. As far as the kids, we've got a great school system, and I think the school is doing a great job on that. But after school, there are other things we could be doing. Community action, potentially some of the buildings that we've acquired as a city, potentially long-term, make into like a community center. We've tried that in the past, something similar to that. It was privately done, but things like that we could get kids involved, because the kids are our future. If the kids grow up from here and they all leave town, that's part of our deterioration, and part of our declining is when they graduate, they don't stay in town. If we can incentivize them to stay here, that would help increase our population.
Yeah, just like Dan said, I mean, once the kids go to college with the bigger city and stuff, they hardly ever come back because there's no opportunity for them to come back, or there's jobs according to their field, what they graduated for and stuff like that. So we need to develop, obviously, the riverfront and other opportunities in the town, other manufacturing or whatever it is. And also, we need hospital and ER and some basic things bring back, actually.
As far as attracting more jobs and people to the community, I'm all ears if anybody has any ideas. I think we need to have a realistic expectation of what we are going to bring in, given the state of our city right now and the infrastructure available to anybody that wants to come in here. A great example I've heard suggested is to have like an Amazon warehouse and delivery center in town. That would be great, but we also need to have realistic expectations of the return on that. Giving tax incentives to an entity like that to come in isn't going to give us a big boost on tax revenue if we give them those tax breaks. I've heard complaints over the past 10 years about the lack of tax revenue from the fertilizer plant up in Weaver. We're given tax incentives to come in. That's why we aren't getting that giant tax revenue there. That trade-off has to be explained, but I know we have plenty of properties in town and areas where we can do that. The Midwest Carbide Factory could be a site, but we also need to, be realistic, and we're limited by, being surrounded by the rivers and, deer properties to the north. We need to make the best use of the space that we do have available to us in our city limits.
All right, down to Ethan.
Well, growing up as a 21-year-old, a lot of my friends even, I've actually had personal experiences of people who just don't see what's here for them and they leave. Even I have had opportunities to leave and I decided to stay because I see the potential of what this town could really be. This town is just packed and loaded with all kinds of history. It has so many cool things. You got the beautiful river right down there. You got the dam. You got all these old statues, old homes, old buildings, everything. And I think we really need to tap into that and use it to our advantage to bring people to this town. Because right now, if you look up Keokuk, Iowa online, the only thing you're going to see is probably negatives about it because the negatives stick out way more than the positives. We need to change that motive and make sure that the positives get out there. We're not doing that right now. And I think that we need to make sure that we're out there. We need to be known. And as we bring more people in, they visit, they come like it, they might move here, might have a family here, might grow, might keep everything going. And in the end, it'll all help out everyone.
Yeah, I think the blue collar town, I probably served at the rubber plant, the hospital, and ConAgra is where I finished up at. I see that the young generation doesn't see that as a career, but it has provided me and my family a great living. And like you said, you might be poor in one way, but in spirit and in love that we're very rich. I would like to see some community involvement with our children, and I say middle school on up to senior high, after our school, that we do some volunteering in our school, just to kind of get that spark for that child to see that sometimes when you don't get paid and you do it with your heart, that might install a real giving heart and somebody that's going to go beyond in their community and do things for the community, not just, hey, it's just about me and it's just about what we can do. I see a lot of things from Roquette, from every plant that we have in here. There's a lot of side things that are worked with the factory. And I think we need to tap into that just a little bit more so the factories can see the benefit of what we can do. Thank you.
All right. Jay is going to go first on this next one. What specific measurable steps can be taken to reduce unsafe and vacant properties in Keokuk?
Is it on? Basically all the vacant property needs to be filled, and to attract business, there should be some kind of incentive for people to come in town, establish business, small businesses mainly, and get that going. Mostly mom and pops businesses, those are the businesses that money actually stays in community. People stay in community, they employ people from around the area. So that's what we need mainly. Thanks.
As far as vacant buildings, lots, and other facilities, I think first off, we need a current inventory of what the city is currently in possession of as far as vacant buildings and lots. Make that public. That might generate interest from locals in developing them on their own and taking steps to acquire them. As far as the properties themselves, I think each different type is going to require a different solution. A vacant home or empty lot in a residential area is a lot different than a vacant commercial property. I know there's been talk in the past about holding some of these out-of-state owners of these dilapidated properties accountable for the for the safety concerns and letting them go. I think that's something that, the city attorney's office can pursue. But as far as developing them, for example, in neighborhoods, there's plenty of things you can do with an empty lot. It doesn't have to generate revenue. It can be community gardens, pocket parks, et cetera. For the larger commercial properties, that's when we can get into the realm of offering tax incentives to larger companies and corporations that would acquire these properties. Stipulate, in the contract, a timeline that they have to do something with it versus letting the building continue to run down or just letting the lot stay empty for years on end.
I think we need to start with making sure that we assess what can and can't be fixed right now, and then we move on. And we got to remember that no matter what, you could make a nice home, but it's going to be vacant until someone moves in it or something gets done with it. So we need to move forward as a community and make it so that vacant house and that vacant lot can have something built on it, put a house on it. You can have a family live in the empty house, clean it up, fix it up, join the community. And I think the biggest way to get that started is to make sure that we got everyone going where we need to, have everything connecting, and just being able to bring people into the community so we can grow and start. And that's how I feel about what you could do with them.
So I stated earlier that I just not quite done yet, but took a 150-year-old home and we demolished it down to the studs. And I think even if you look at the abandoned homes, there's still hope. You just got to put in the work. And to get the school system, get Southeastern Community College involved, get a couple bankers involved that we can do some construction loans, getting them kids or young men, young women in there to really see the possibilities of what is that can be done to these homes. And I think that I agree that there has to be a timeline. You have to be looking and making a potential effort to get these done. And I look forward to it and to getting some of these abandoned properties and taking care of them and bringing them back to life for our city. Thank you.
So right now, we do have a list, and the challenge is we have so many entities that live out of town that way out west that they come purchase properties, and they purchase them for the sole purpose of a tax relief. They have if you come in and you talk with Casey, she's got a list a mile long, and these individuals or these entities get a bill every month because our guys go out and mow it. And the problem with that is there's such a timeline as to when the city can actually do something about that versus just sending them a bill. So there are deadlines already for empty. If your house is empty and you don't have any construction going on, there's a fee for that. If your house is vacant and nothing being done, there's already a fee for that. The challenge is collecting that. So what I would like to potentially see us do is these out-of-state entities that are coming here, and you talk and they're out here and they're strictly just to buy it. They'll buy it. They won't even come and look at it. They just buy it because they don't care. So maybe in that regard, instead of offering the incentives we would potentially offer to try to bring a business into town, is charge them an out-of-state rate. Show us what you want to do with this. Prove to us what you want to do with this building versus just buying a building. And I would mimic also, I'd like to see us get a industrial arts thing, have the kids start building it. Maybe the city and the school could work together on that. Thank you.
All right, Matt goes first this time. What criteria would you like to see used to prioritize street repairs, maintenance, or replacement?
Well, the roads is always the big one, I suppose. Whenever a city election comes in, has been since I've moved to town almost 20 years ago, and it looks like it'll be the hot topic for 20 more years. I know it seems like the biggest challenge our city has faced is that EPA mandated sewer separation project that sucked, millions out of our budget. I'd like to see, I'm sure there is a 5 and a 10 and a 15-year plan for roads, but I'd like to see that more available to the public so they can see the timeline and understand the reasons why or why not roads aren't being addressed. That would also help them understand why certain roads are getting the full pavement treatment versus just asphalt and patch. We can also look at creative and innovative approaches that other communities have done. I know everybody here has probably seen the roundabouts that some cities are doing. We don't have to have a roundabout, but new things like that. One thing I would propose is changing some of our city streets to just one-way designations. Example, just pulling it out, 8th and 9th Street, going north-south. When we go to repair those, they can be done just half of the street instead of the full street. That might be an inconvenience, but it's better than your street being on a 20-year timeline for repairs versus something sooner.
I think when it comes to the roads, we all have that issue when it comes to it. A lot need fixed. The big thing is instead of doing one whole road or one whole area, we could do it. We just need to do small steps at a time. Small minor things here, small minor things there, and it'll all add up in the end. I think I know as much as you guys do when it comes to what we get for it, what we do, but I think it needs to be monitored, make sure it goes there and get it done. And small changes, let's get it all going once, get it started, and it'll add up in the end.
I was approached by a gentleman that, he's a construction guy, and he said, why don't we buy, a chipper, where you go down the road and it'll chip up all the concrete that's left or not left. And we could teach our city employees how to run the machinery. And we could do just a little bit at a time. Because the budget's going to allow us to do what we have to do. And this would be blacktop. It wouldn't be concrete, but blacktop has proven over the years that it's just as durable. So to get the equipment, and so that would be less that we have to pay out, and it'd be a good experience for our city employees. And I know they can do it. Thank you.
So we currently have a plan, and I believe they even put it in the paper as to what the order of the streets were. As far as whether we do mill and fill or the concrete, the reason like Grand Avenue is getting a full concrete is because when we took core samples, whenever it was done how many years ago, it only had about 1 inch of asphalt. So when you do mill and fill, you take up 2 inches of asphalt, you've got a couple inches of asphalt left, you can put asphalt back down. When you take up 2 inches of asphalt and half of that's dirt, now you've got no foundation. So the only way to fix that is to go in and do it correctly. Sure, we could cheaten it up and we could be fixing it again in 5 years. As far as the order, we actually paid a consultant company to come in and help us evaluate our roads. They had a lot of extra equipment that we don't have, and we went through and we, as a city council, we evaluated and we picked the roads and we picked the order we wanted to do them, and they were all graded on 1 through 5. Some of the roads that were supposed to be worked on now are in the process of getting a grant money, and if we put any money into it, we lose that grant money. So that's why potentially something was taken out of that order, and that's where we're at now. Obviously, roads are always going to be a big topic. We inherited this issue, and it's going to be here for a while. All of us want the roads fixed, and that's our goal.
Yeah, obviously the roads are the big issue in town. So basically we just have to go little by little. I know the budget's not gonna allow to do everything be at once, but we just have to pick little at a time to get it done, basically. Thanks.
All right, back up to Ethan for the next question. What is your vision for downtown Keokuk and the riverfront, and what would your role be in development of these areas?
I would like to see our downtown and our river be utilized more. I think it is where all the history, a good chunk of all this history is down at the river and of course our downtown area. It all has so much history to it and it needs to be used. A lot of places do community events. I think we need to get the community more involved, make sure everyone's on the same page. With only 9,000 people in the town, I think we could get pretty strong and pretty tight-knit group if we all just do stuff. There's a lot of stuff that we could be doing, instead of having like a farmer's market down at the parking lot by the mall, we could maybe shut off the downtown, set everything up. You could have anybody go, anybody who has any talent, anything they want to sell, toys, knickknacks, whatever. I think it should be something that they should be a part of and just get the community involved.
Well, I do believe in that we have putting on the glitz, we have crazy days, and I think we can do more of that. I think the outcome that you see when you go to those is just like, wow, okay. So we got some momentum going there. And for the riverfront, I do believe with the two beautiful boat clubs that we have in the lock and dam, that we need to look into some pontoons. Maybe a company will come in and organize that to give people rides. There's probably people who live in this community that probably has never been on the river. And just a short ride. You don't have to go through the dam every time. I think there's a lot. We've done a lot to beautify Victory Park, and with the walkways that are happening now, that I think it's just a win-win situation. And definitely, we need to come up. The community needs to come up, and we need to start being doers instead of just complain to a couple council people but come and do things. Let's get it in action. Thank you.
Can you repeat that, please?
Sure. What's your vision for downtown Keokuk and the riverfront, and what would your role be in development in these areas?
So I think we've got a great downtown. We've done a lot to improve that and make that a very good, and we need to expand that a little more potentially, and where it's not just Main Street, but that's all of downtown. The struggling businesses, potentially help them get some of that straightened out and encourage a little more, not necessarily signage, but maybe a little more, let's dress it up. They call it curb appeal for homes. We potentially could even run a, favorite business, or some of the towns I've seen, they do the lawn of the year or the lawn of the month. We potentially could do that with different businesses downtown to encourage that. With the riverfront, I love that we're doing the nature trail. I would like to see us, and it'd probably have to be grant money, but I'd like to see us try to put in some sort of marina like what Fort Madison did. They were talking about that the other day, that the marina actually is it's gained like 4 different awards in the last year because of its upkeep. And so they've got all this draw now. And as far as just my role, I'm going to do everything I can to benefit Keokuk. I tell everybody whenever they ask me about city council, it's not about me. It's not about what I want. And sometimes what I would think we ought to be voting on, and then I have people come talk with me and say, hey, I'd rather you vote this way. And so we vote that way. I will be as supportive as I can. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I agree with Dan. As far as the river, we have a beautiful riverfront. We need to utilize more. The events like the Lake Cooper and stuff they do, that's really well. We need more tours in summertime when the weather's good. Downtown's great as far as the putting on glitch, that's been successful, events, something like that. And as he said about the marina, we need something like that. It's really nice. And I would personally actually invest in something like that. If we can come up with some kind of plan, work with everybody, or see how that works.
As far as the development of Main Street, I think the population of Keokuk has done an excellent job so far from what I've seen in my time moving here. The businesses that have been opened, the buildings that have been revitalized, all the murals that have gone up in just the past year and a half. As far as city government goes, I'm almost inclined to just stay out of the way of the people that are investing in the downtown buildings themselves. As far as the riverfront goes, I think we need to have a very realistic expectation of our riverfront. It is stuck between the lock and the dam and the sewage treatment plant in Roquette. And it's stuck between the river and the bluff. It's a pretty small area where we can do stuff. There are people like the, the street fair and the Blues Fest that have held events down there that are great. Continue to promote those and encourage them to happen. But as far as developing the riverfront, and it floods out all the time, developing the riverfront and putting new things down there, we got to have a realistic expectation of the little space. We don't have a giant wide open riverfront like Fort Madison does. As far as the nature trail down there that somebody mentioned, we can improve upon that for minimal cost, put in concrete pads for pull-up bars and calisthenics along the way, and turn it into a fitness trail versus just a walking path, sidewalk that, is present in the rest of the city, to draw more people down there. But as far as Main Street and the riverfront go, let people continue to do what they have been doing for our small community of 9 to 10,000 people.
All right, we're running up on 45 minutes here, so I'll give everybody a minute to just kind of wrap it up. We'll start down on this end and go that way.
Right back at me?
Right back at you.
Okay, fair enough. I guess I'll start off by saying thank you for having me here tonight, and thank you for the opportunity to speak out in front of all you and everybody that's tuning in. I think it's important that you guys come out here to hear what all the candidates have to say, and that everybody takes more of a stakeholder position in the community versus just existing and living in it. I like to see the engagement and interaction between the people and the city governance. Also thank my wife for being here and supporting me as well. At the end of the day, my reason for running is simple. I want to serve the community and make it the best possible place that I can. I also want to, be that example of public service for my son as well. I'll make sure, if I'm elected, I'll make sure your voice is heard and continue to be that point of contact between the city government and the people that I represent.
Yeah, thanks everybody for being here, and thanks for inviting me too. So my main goal is basically, I really truly care about this city. This city has given me and my family everything, actually, both my girls and me, my wife. So I truly care about this city. I really want to see this city prosper, grow, and always for next generation. My dad always said that always your next generation has to do better than what we did. So that's my towards goal. I would work with everybody, and I really have no personal agenda, bias or nothing. I just want truly something just great for city.
I want to make sure and thank the chamber and Joe for putting this on. And as far as what the future holds, if I get elected, I will continue to do my best for Keokuk. But I also want to challenge everybody here and everybody watching that it's not just the 9 of us up here that really need to be making the decisions. If you've got a concern or a question, all of our phone numbers, all of our emails are on the city page. We're easy to get a hold of. If we're not communicated with and we're not talked with, we don't know how you feel about something without you talking with us about it. It's really easy to get on social media and just run down Keokuk. And then we wonder why nobody wants to come to Keokuk. Well, they get on and everybody in Keokuk is running down Keokuk. So think about what you say, think about what you do. My dad always said, if you can't be part of the solution, don't be part of the problem. And so I just challenge everybody to do your best to make Keokuk the best town. You would never run down your family to everybody else. Keokuk is your family. And that's my goal, is for us to be the best town we can be. And if I get elected, I will do my best to continue to make that work.
Of being in community involvement, I want more involvement. We have a task ahead of us. As you know, Joe Schumann put on the City of Christmas. Well, he's no longer with us and he passed. So October 20th, we're starting that movement, and it's going to be a learning curve, but with people and movement, and we'll be able to see what we can do with volunteer. and we'll get the schools involved. And it's not about, for them, it's not about money. It's just a volunteer to put that in their heart again. They, we can't just complain. We've got to come here to these meetings. We got to be positive. We got to move forward. We can't talk down. We can't, say, well, what about this? What about, well, everything with budgets and everything that we do, it takes money. It takes time. We just have to be more patient and just love our town like most of us do. Thank you.
Yet again, I just want to thank everyone for coming. It means a lot to me because none of you guys have to be here right now. So it shows that you truly care about the town we live in. And for all of us, we're working for you guys. This is to help you guys. We want to make this a team effort. We need a good team, a good community, and everyone working around us to make sure that we can accomplish what we need. And I'm younger, of course, so I like to see things a little differently, but I like to think of it like for your kids, their grandkids, anyone in your family, what kind of future are they going to grow up and have in this town? If we keep going, what changes we need to make and what we can do for you. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a 5-minute break. We'll reset up here and get our mayoral candidates up here. Got bathrooms out there. Thanks again to all the candidates.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
That's the one.
Corey, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
I don't, is that light on?
Not really. I don't think the lights are on. Test, test. It's working.
Good, how are you?
We're gonna put a donation jar up here, Bubby. Put $1 in there. All right, we're good to go. What you looking for, Todd?
Thank you.
All right, folks, if everyone could come in, take your seats. We're going to begin with the mayoral portion of the night.
All right, we have our 3 candidates for mayor, and we're going to give them each a minute to introduce themselves. We'll start with Danny.
I'm Dan Glasgow, and I'm basically a lifelong resident in this area, either in town or right around this town. And the reason I'm here is because I care. And I've spent a lot of hard years and work at keeping a lot of these small businesses open, which I hear that get said a lot. And I just want everybody to know that I'm here for all of you. I'm behind you. I'm in front of you, but I need you behind me.
Hello, my name is Corey Samuels. I'm known for my work mostly in man country. I did run a telemarketing center in this area for about 20 years. But I'm mostly known for my nonprofit work that I did in the organization, which worked with the small businesses, the schools, and other nonprofits. I'm also probably known best for being Hunter and Austin's dad. And I'm just here because I've realized I've spoke a lot about the things we should be doing differently in this town. And my parents talked to me about that and they said, you either need to do it or stop talking about it. So that's why I'm here. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Mark Smith. I've lived in Keokuk for almost 25 years. Have run a couple different businesses here in town for about 15 years. I was publisher of the newspaper. And then for the last 8 years of my working career, I was CEO at the Horner YMCA. I tell people I love Keokuk so much, I moved here twice. So I took a little time off. We went to the Oregon coast and lived out there, and my wife and I moved out there and moved back here when she was given a job at the bank. She was named market president, and we really missed our community. We missed the Midwest, and we missed our family and friends, and Keokuk has been just a great place for us. Thank you.
All right, first question for Danny. What specific experience, personal or professional, prepares you to serve as mayor for Keokuk?
Well, I started my career here working because I couldn't afford to go to college. So I had to actually work here at a factory that's no longer here. And then from there, I went into the car business where I had several people work for me at several different car dealerships. And I learned how to work with people and grow every one of those places. And then I decided that I wanted to come home and do it for myself. So I'm here. I'm part of 7 businesses in this town or real close to this town. And I care about this town. If not, I can pack up and leave. But I don't want to, because I want to be here and I want it better for all of us. And I get tired of hearing about the communities not growing. You know what? There's a lot of things that we need to do to step up to make it better, and then people will come here. The average age here is about 40 years old. In a growing town, it's about 32 to 33. So you tell me why all these kids are leaving? Because there's nothing here for them. We need to start working on some workshops and stuff like that to work with these kids, because there's not enough plumbers. There's not enough electricians. There's not enough construction guys. I can tell you right now, and that gal sitting right there, she puts a lot of people in employment because people cannot find employees. Our workforce is horrible. And that's why you're not going to have any businesses come to this town until we do something about it. We can sit around and complain, or we can get up and do something about it, but we need to do it as a community.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. What specific experience, personal or professional, prepares you to serve as mayor of the city of Keokuk?
Well, first I want to say, I grew up in a union home, and I saw my dad worked at Roquette until he retired. I grew up through all the struggles of the strikes and lockouts, and that's really what kind of opened my eyes to the struggles of that community. Later on, I went to the United States Air Force, where I learned about leadership. Later on, I went on to manage a call center here in town, where I was then promoted to senior director of training and development. Spent about 25 years in that, and part of my job was to go around and find the struggling call centers and turn those around. So as far as financials go, that's part of my expertise. Leadership goes as part of my expertise too. I'd go in there and find the leaders, find out who was willing to do the job and who wasn't. I'd come in there with different ideas, and a lot of my ideas seem a little bit different, but they're usually stolen ones. What I do is I research what other towns are doing, what other companies are doing. I take that and I implement that. And then lastly was my time in Man Country with the nonprofit. That really opened up my eyes to the struggling businesses, Main Street, the different plights and situations with the school system, the 80% reduced lunch or free or reduced lunch that we have. I realized there's a lot of problems here. And I realized that a small group of guys and girls, a couple of them are here with us, and we went out with a $0 budget and changed a lot of lives. And that's what I intend to do in this position. Thanks.
For experience, I guess I'd go back to the 2 businesses and being CEO at the 2 businesses. The Horner YMCA, especially most recently, was a struggling organization. It was getting ready to close, and we built a wonderful team there. We built a board. The board was almost non-existent when I got there. Bill Smith was the president of the board, and we built that board back, and the board and the staff brought that YMCA back. to where it is. And the YMCA has a wonderful mission. I'd like to take that same type of can-do approach to the city of Keokuk and help rebuild the city of Keokuk, bring it into a good light and do what we can with that. Over the years, the other types of experiences, I've worked with the city of Keokuk in a number of ways, whether it was on the Grand Theater Commission or the Library Foundation, serving on the tourism board, and a number of different things like that, working Habitat for Humanity in the chamber, just a lot of volunteer experiences over the years. And, I think volunteers are some of the most positive people that you can find. And I think we need to bring some of that positivity back to Keokuk.
All right, we'll start with Corey this time. What do you see as the top 3 challenges facing our city, and how do you plan to address them?
Well, I think the number one position is going to be the budget, obviously. Bubby and I have spent many a night talking about that. And transparency, I'm going to land on that for just a second. We've talked about a lot of different issues here tonight. The other group was fantastic. And one of the things that we don't talk about enough is why there's not this kind of attendance at city council meetings, or even we don't get this many views on YouTube. We have 82 views on the city council meetings because a lot of things are happening behind closed doors, and that's a big problem for me. There's a lot of decisions being made without the public knowing why or how that vote came to. And that's the first thing I want to talk about. If I get in this position, that's the first thing I want to get rid of, is those behind closed door meetings. They have to go away because people don't trust the leadership right now. And it's not because of the leadership, it's because of how it's handled, right? And if you could talk to the regular person, they say, this is why we're not involved. We don't feel like our voices are heard. And when they are, there's nothing that's done about it. So that's going to be a big issue for me. Number 3 is going to be working with the tourism department. I really think that's an answer to a lot of our issues. I'll talk about that more later, but that would be the 3 things that I would like to prioritize. Thanks.
Sure. I guess I'll start with the one thing every Keokuk resident says, and that's our streets. We all know that we need to make improvements to our streets. In talking with the city administrator, I think he's got some good ideas on ways to free up some funds so we can devote more funding to improving our streets. And so that would be a good thing. The second thing would be to help our businesses with either a thriving downtown and a thriving business community. So much of the improvements in our community stems from that. You need jobs for people, and you need businesses to support your community and support your property tax levy. And then, I hear a lot of things tonight about that fit into what I would say are quality of life things. And we need to prioritize our city budget and what we can do with our city, and how we manage a city of 9,000 residents when we used to be a city of 16 or 17,000, but we cannot give up the things that make Keokuk great, and that is some of these quality of life things. So those would be the 3 that I'd pick out to start with.
Dan?
First of all, obviously, our financial stability is at question right now. And without financial stability, which is the budget, which, that's the big white elephant in the room, we don't have the money, we can't have a strong foundation. So obviously, without the financial stability, we're not going to fix any roads. Things are not going to get any better. So we're going to have to figure that out first. Now, whether it is we have to cut a few things, or whether maybe we need to go out and reassess some of the properties in town. I know that they've assessed them here a while back, but I still see some properties like where a neighbor's house is worth 80 and the other guy's house is worth 200,000. So we have a problem there that maybe needs to be averaged out. I don't know. There's a lot of things, but I think we have a very good administrator at the moment that will sit down and work with us, and we can get to the root of the problems. The next thing, like Corey said, we've talked about this a lot, is the transparency. Everything's a big secret. I mean, just like the hospital, you don't hear anything about it anymore, hardly. Nobody talks about anything. Everything's all behind closed doors, it is. And if I'm elected mayor, you're going to see every Friday, you're going to have an update of what's going on in the city, because I want you to know, because you matter. And Of course, the third thing that people don't want to talk about is we have a homeless problem and people don't want to address it. And I hear homeless shelters and all this stuff. What we really need to work on is mental health. We need to have something to work with these people to either get them to where they need to be, where they can work again, have a job, or make use in the community. So that's the three things that I'm really looking at. I mean, obviously the roads and stuff, I mean, we fix the budget, we can fix the roads. Thank you.
All right, Mark, I'll have the first say on the next question, and Dan's going to like this question. Do you feel the city should be directly involved in homelessness and housing insecurity issues in the community? If so, how could it be funded?
It's funny, I was just talking with my son the other night about the homelessness. My son's a police officer in Keokuk, and he sees some of the problems that stem from homelessness. I think we need to approach that with an open heart, and we need to do the best thing we can for those people. I also think that it's going to be a big challenge, but there are ways to assure that a homeless shelter can help those people, and it will be safe for our community and safe for those at the homeless shelter. What was the second part of that, Joe? There was a lot of parts to that.
How could it be funded?
Really, a lot of things are going to end up being either grant funding or outside funding of some sort. And I think that's a lot of what's happening with the homeless shelter now.
Okay.
Well, I just said that the homeless is one of my priorities because once again, we have a lot of dilapidated buildings. And of course, I get to see it firsthand where I live. I live down at 629 High. So, and in the pawn shop on Main Street, on several Main Street buildings. So I see them all the time. And it's a constant battle. I think the homeless shelter gives everybody the wrong idea because it's not going to house a bunch of people. It's not big like it. Everybody thinks they're going to have a homeless shelter, so everybody runs here. There's no place to put them. So once again, I'm gonna go back to, we have to have mental health awareness. Maybe we could use that big building that we own now from Roquette, and maybe we can get grants for that and make that a mental health center, but we don't have anything. Years ago, we used to have Bridgeway and places where these people worked, and they actually helped out and made a difference in the community, and we don't have that anymore.
So I've talked to several different people in the know about this situation, and I think we're trying to solve an equation without some variables. We're missing a couple pieces. Number one, no one I spoke to so far knows the amount of homeless people we even have in this area, right? So that's a big problem. When you're trying to solve a problem and you don't have all the pieces, that's pretty impossible. So whether it's a homeless shelter or a warming shelter, whatever, we don't even know the number that we have out there. I've spoke to the police department, I spoke to the people in the Alliance, et cetera. And I think that's step number one, is find out how big this problem actually is, because we just see what we see. We don't even know what's at the bridge or behind Walmart or down by the train depot. We have no clue. So saying, here's what we're going to do, here's our plan of attack, and yet we don't have any numbers to back up that plan, that seems reckless to me, because then are we in better shape or worse shape, or what shape are we in at this point? So I think the first step would be to find some hard numbers and say, this is what we have. And then the next step would be saying, what do these people need for help? Because we're just making wild guesses here. Is like Bubby said, is it mental health issues? Do they just need identification to get into housing? What do they need? And then form the committees around that. I don't think we could just blanket it and say, what do we do about the homeless? That's part of my problem, is we look at these issues and we just say, here's what we're going to do, without knowing all of the equation.
All right, looks like we're back up to Dan for the question. Oh, what specific measures would you use to improve transparency and communication between the mayor's office and residents?
Well, like I just said, I always have an open door policy. Most people around have my phone number and know where to find me at, but I want to keep a page open, like on a Facebook. I have a Facebook right now, which I've never done anything like this, that says Bring Back Keokuk, which is what I want to do. And I will keep updates every week with people so they can see what's going on, what we're working on. So that goes, that's what the transparency. I mean, nobody knows what's happening.
It's going to be social media for me. That's what it's been for me for many different years. You know, we heard the last group come up here and talk, and someone said, you know, that's been in the newspaper. And here's kind of what my problem is with. We talk about the youth, we talk about giving people something, you know, the young people, and we're still doing newspaper and radio. And my big push would be put all this out on social media where these younger people can get involved and actually look at it. It is what it is. Social media is the future, and we have to start getting away from some of these older things. We said, well, we put the notes in. They're not watching the YouTube videos. They're not reading the newspaper. They're not listening to the radio, but they are watching on social media. I've grew my personal page through this method to about 20,000 followers. I'm one of the largest pages in Keokuk because I am very transparent, not just of what goes on in my home, but the ideas I have for this town. And the other day, I just put up a video of Kaiser Park. It had over 10,000 views. We don't even have that many people in this area. So that's what my push is going to be, is pushing this out. There's going to be other ways, but we're going to talk about it. I don't want to steal Bubby's idea because I don't want to upset him, but every Friday I would also go on there and do, here's the mayor's forum, and discuss with people what decisions were made and how we got to those decisions.
Good share of my life has been marketing, either through the newspaper or through the YMCA. Truthfully, a lot of the ways that we helped bring the YMCA back was they were not marketing things. We had some great programs. We had a great facility, and we really needed to let people know. And I think that same principle can be applied to the city of Keokuk, and that is we just need to let people know what's going on, and we need to get them to be a part of it. You know, we have many committees, of which the mayor appoints people to the committees and commissions in Keokuk, and getting those involved and getting those publicized and people know what's going on. Those are all another way to improve communication and to let people become involved. So those would be, I guess, some of the ways that I would want to get more people involved, get everyone involved, and let people know about the good things that are going on in Keokuk.
All right, Corey, you're up for first on this question. What's your vision for economic development in the city, and how would you attract new businesses while supporting the existing ones?
Well, I recently did a video on this as well. Most of my ideas come from my travels through the company I worked for. That was my job. I'd go around to other call centers and fix them financially. And when I was there, I'd take a look at what they were doing to work on their main streets and their downtowns. And the incubator is something I've talked about many different times with many different people. There's so many grants for this. You have a building, you get in small businesses, you get entrepreneurs in there. And what happens is, working with the Chamber of Commerce, you work with Main Street Keokuk. As these businesses continue to grow, what you do is you pluck them out of that incubator and you start to put them in those buildings on Main Street. And people go, yeah, but those Main Street buildings are collapsing, and that's what the grant monies are for. I watched Atoma do this. They did a phenomenal job. It was the Chamber of Commerce would hold their events there, and what they were doing where they were building on each other. So you had the entrepreneurs learning from the Chamber of Commerce, and when they would get large enough, like I said, they would transplant them onto their Main Street, and it was a super neat idea. And the cost of this is next to nothing. Once you have that building, once you locate it, I don't know if the road, what do we call that road cap building over there on 14? Yeah, I don't think that's, I was told that's an incubator. There is 0 foot traffic, and that is not built for this specific idea. You need something that's probably a little bit more local where people could walk to it. I've talked a lot about this, and that'd be the number one idea for me.
Had a good conversation with Emily Benjamin, who's the director of the Lee County Economic Development Group, and the KEDC has been absorbed into the Lee County Economic Development Group. So that is an organization that's working on our behalf and Lee County's behalf to help businesses succeed and to help attract new businesses. And I just want to emphasize that you know, I've been involved in economic development for 30 or 35 years, and part of the 35 years ago, we were saying the most important thing that you needed to do was retain your businesses. You know, it was retention and expansion. So the retention was the first thing. So we really need to work to ensure that the businesses that we have are supported, and that the city can help them overcome any problems that they are facing. So retention and expansion. And talking to Emily, they're working on some good things that really they hope will pay off for Keokuk and Lee County. And we need to make sure that the city is supporting those efforts in every way possible and helping market those things. Some other things would be, looking at our downtown business district, how we could improve or promote the TIF district, the tax increment financing district that exists. And that would be a wonderful way to help the existing businesses on Main Street.
You want to repeat that question?
Sure. What's your vision for economic development in the city, and how would you attract new businesses while supporting existing ones?
Well, obviously, we need to revitalize the downtown, and then we need to make it easier for these small businesses to be able to open or be able to run. We have talked about the incubator thing, and I do agree that the Sid Center is not the place for that. They need to be on Main Street. So we probably should have looked at Main Street property if we were going to do that. I think it is a great idea. The problem is there's not a lot of people running here wanting to open up small businesses because of all the other economical problems that we have. So we're going to have to get our stability back underneath us, get a good foundation, revitalize, look at revitalizing the downtown and helping anybody that wants to open up a small business.
All right, we got Mark up for the next question. This is about public safety. What are your priorities? For example, police, fire, or emergency services, if you become mayor, and how will you balance law enforcement with community relations?
I don't think you can pick one of those things and say this is more important than the others. Public safety in general is important to our community. It's one of the most important things that we provide, whether it's police, fire, or ambulance. It was mentioned by the city council candidates that, we sit in an unusual area, bounded by the river and two other states, and that does pose some challenges for law enforcement. And so we may have more needs in that area than some others. We also, as we've talked about, there are some financial challenges facing the city of Keokuk, and you have to be able to balance the financial challenges that the city's facing with any service that we can provide. And what was the second part of that again, Joe?
How will you balance law enforcement with community relations?
Community relations. I think that's we've at the Y, we worked great with the police and the fire. We had a wonderful relationship there, and I think just helping those organizations, those departments connect with the community and meet with the community. There's always the community policing theme, and so that is something good, and I think we are doing community policing. So and the fire department has done wonderful service for us in a number of different ways. But, again, maybe it's just letting people know that those things are happening.
Ask me the question again.
What are your priorities for our emergency services, police, fire, and how will you balance law enforcement with community relations?
Well, first of all, public safety is very important to all of our well-beings. I've heard people say, hey, we can go to a volunteer fire department and cut that. You can't have a volunteer fire department. We have to have a fire department. We don't even have a hospital. So a lot of times the firemen are the ones that are doing chest compressions on people that are having heart attacks or other problems. Or thank God, we haven't had a major catastrophe. We have a couple of large foundries here, and something bad could happen, and we need those people along with the police force. Our crime rate is a little higher, quite a bit higher than the national or the Iowa average. It's about 2.8 times higher. I think we need to get with law enforcement. We have some very great police officers. I think we need to get with the law enforcement. And, back in the day, we used to have neighborhood watch and different things like that. People need to get involved again. You need to stop it. Stop the crime. Stop the crime yourself. Help the police department. We need to get involved.
First of all, I want to start by saying, you know, I worked law enforcement in the Air Force, and I couldn't imagine being an officer, a police officer right now in this day and age. That's got to be one of the toughest jobs on the planet. So I do want to applaud them for that. All the sheriff department, I think the police department, I think they do a wonderful job. I think I do see what I really liked from the police department was when they'd have the videos out of them playing basketball with the kids, them going in and doing the candy at the. We just need a little bit more of that, right? I think what they do is a wonderful job. I think what the fire department does is a wonderful. They're fantastic. And as far as the public relation goes, I think it would just be as simple as getting them back out there and talk. I have a police officer who's a neighbor. I think she's fantastic. It's really just the little things where they can get out there and go to these events in uniform, shake the hands, you know, interact with the kids. And I think that's about all they need to do, because otherwise, I think they do a phenomenal job here in the area.
All right, Dan starts the next one. How should local government respond to environmental concerns like sustainability, water quality, flooding, green spaces, and odor control?
Well, that's a pretty tough question. That's something that I haven't really looked at that much. I know our water quality. I've always heard that we have some of the best water in the state. You know, we live by the river, so flooding is always going to be a problem. The other problem is all the other money that we don't have. It's going to be real hard to address these issues too, because like I said, a lot of the flooding is only going to affect the people down on the riverfront. It's not going to affect the people up in the homes, which is where the main problem is. The main problem is inside our homes with all the people, with the high taxes, high utilities, bad streets. You know, so that's a tough question. I mean, I could research it and give you a little bit better answer. I have a forum coming up on the 17th at the Elk. So if any of the individuals would like to come there and ask questions, I'd be happy to do that. And I would give a lot better answer for that question.
And I'm going to say pretty much the exact same thing. I think on this, it is a tough question. I did not do any research on this, but usually when I solve a problem, what I am very good at is reaching out to the people who do know. That I had someone call me up and they said, what would you do in this situation? And I always refer to the experts. You can ask anybody who's on the city council or inside Keokuk. I've been calling people and saying, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And when it comes to a situation that I don't know, I feel very comfortable telling people I don't know until I do know. And I think that's the stance I'm going to take on this is once I get more information, I can give you that answer. But right now, I'd have to talk to some people to understand it better.
I spent an hour this morning discussing an environmental issue with a local resident, and I hope we can connect the problems that are being faced there with the business, and I hope that you know that the mayor can play a role in helping connect people and helping connect these people to the businesses involved. There's two checks sitting down here below you that talk about the Superfund or the Brownfield site, cleaning up Elcom Carbon and getting that taken care of would go a long way to addressing a major environmental problem in Keokuk. And the city has put a lot of work into that, and I think that check over there says it's worth $4.2 million. So, you know, the ongoing efforts the city has, and relying on the city administrator. I mean, I think we've got a good city administrator right now. That person is the one who really is in touch with issues like that. And how can the mayor and the city council support the efforts that person is doing, either on the brownfield or on the sewer separation?
All right. Am I on Corey here? I lost my place. We got what are your plans for maintaining and upgrading roads, bridges, public utilities, and broadband?
Is that to me?
Yeah, to you, Corey.
Okay. So I want to start by saying, and we're going to, I think Bubby and I both are going to repeat this over and over again. I don't think you can get out over your skis on this. We're going to have to look at the budget first before we start to talk about any of these situations. There won't be money for this if we don't get that under control. I've talked to several different people and said, I've asked several different people about the roads and what the plan is, and they all say the same. The most frustrating part of this for me so far has been I've asked several different people the same questions, and I get different answers from everybody. And that's been, me and Bubby discussed this too, it's very needle in the haystack situation. So as far as that goes, I think it all leads back to the budget. We have to figure out what's going on with that, what we do have. And then once you find out what you do have or what you can take out of the budget, then you can start talking about the plan after that. But the questions continue to seem like what is going to happen right now. I think there needs to be more digging into what has happened already to put us in this situation, and then you can make that plan after that. That's the entire thing for me, is looking at the budget, figuring out why we're in this situation, what money do we have for the infrastructure, and then going from there.
You want to repeat that one, please, Joe?
Sure. What are your plans for maintaining and upgrading roads, bridges, public utilities, and broadband, et cetera?
It was mentioned again by the city council candidates about priorities in town, and managing your priorities with limited resources. And again, in conversations with the city administrator, he has a good idea on maybe where we should be going and the things that we should be doing. And I think we need to rely on the expertise of the city administrator and the city council to help us set those priorities and find out ways to adequately fund the things that we need to do. In talking with Jim, the city administrator, he's got some ideas on how to reclassify some expenses that will help open up some new revenue streams. And I think that's the sort of thinking that we need.
All right, so Mark, I'll have the first question this time around. Oh, sorry, Bubby. Go ahead.
It's okay, I've been left out before. Basically on the roads, I mean, that's a very tough one to get into. Because first of all, we need to make sure that the funds are, the taxes that are collected for that, the road taxes and stuff are going to the right spot. And make sure that they're actually being used for the road repairs instead of something else. And the other thing, the simple question that I'm gonna ask, because I'm on, I do contracting work and stuff, is why can't we fix them ourselves? Why do we always gotta hire somebody else to fix them? We do have people that are knowledgeable that work here, and if they are not, it's possible to give them training and buy the equipment instead of bonding out for different things. We could spend the money within and grow within ourselves and fix our streets ourselves. So, but as far as the rest of it, I mean, I don't know a lot about it because, like I said, I've been with Jim. I spent about 4 hours with him the other day. He's very knowledgeable. And by listening to him, I just want to make sure that the funds are going in the right place.
All right, our next question here, start with Mark. How will you work with other levels of government like county and state to bring resources and policy support to the city?
Sure. I really look forward to working with both county, state, federal officials. I think that's something I could do very well. In conversations with various people at the county level, other communities, other nearby counties are facing the same sort of things that we're facing, and working with them to come up with solutions that help Keokuk would be a good thing to do. And we need to continue to work with our state legislature and legislators to give cities the leeway that they need to be able to fund the projects and the priorities that we have. A lot of that has changed, and they've made it very restrictive on cities on what they can do. And that's made it very difficult for cities. And we need to get in our federal legislators and hold their feet to the fire to help us make some improvements. I know we've haven't talked a whole lot about the healthcare situation, and as I've said in the past, that's going to be a very, very difficult thing to solve. But it's a huge need in our community, and I think we can get some help from outside the area to deal with that. Although again, it's going to be a super difficult thing to do.
Dan?
You want to repeat that question?
Sure. How will you work with other levels of government, like county and state, to bring resources and policy support to the city?
Well, I've always been a person that can work and get things done that sometimes people don't think can get done. So I would absolutely be an asset to working with the other governments and stuff. And like I said, in this point in time, I've talked with Senator Reichman about a lot of things that's going on. And I'm trying to learn a little bit more about the government. I'm not a politician. This is way out of my league. The thing that I am somebody that cares. I'm glad Mark brought up about the hospital. That's very high on my list. I want to know why it isn't open or why we haven't heard anything about it. And I think that everybody would like to see it get open now that we haven't had it. So that's whether they're in the county or whether they're in the city. So as far as the federal wise, I don't know much about them, but I'll learn real fast.
When I first announced that I was going to run for mayor, someone from the Lee County Board of Supervisors reached out to me immediately, and we began a friendship. He started to walk me through different resources, grants, et cetera, that he thought would be good for this area. I asked him how many times somebody from the city council, et cetera, reaches out to him. His answer was kind of staggering. He said, never. He asked me what my plan would be if I was elected. I'd say I would ask him every question I had, because that's what I want to do. I don't think you just jump in this position and know everything. I think you have to reach out and ask people who've already been there, who've already had the same experience, people who have already failed with ideas or succeeded with ideas. I'm very good at that, where I know what I know and I also know what I don't know. And I would love to learn from those people. I've also been in sales for about 25 years, marketing just as well. And so I am able to build relationships with people through that. So I look forward to that experience, to be honest with you. I look forward to learning what other places are doing and that we can bring here.
All right, Dan, do you have any suggestions on how to engage youth and young adults in civic life and ensure their voices are heard?
Well, if you paid attention earlier, you already seen that. My son was sitting here running for First Ward City Council. I always say the old thing that my ancestors never left me any buffalo, but I want to leave buffalo for the people, for the kids behind us. I'm looking at not my future here, but for the future behind us, which is where I think that we've lost it, which is why we don't have the youth here. Nobody stays here. Nobody's involved with them. I would like to figure out at some point in time to catch them at an earlier age, to maybe put some workshops together or different things. I know that we do sports and different stuff like that with the kids, but I think that we need to work harder to try to keep some of the youth here. And I think they also need to be heard, because they are part of the community too.
Yeah, I would build a committee of young people. A lot of times we try to solve the young person crisis with people my age, and that's a mistake. I don't think people my age understand anymore what the 18 to 21-year-old crowd knows or the 15-year-old crowd knows. We're out of touch with that. So, and I tell people that all the time. If you want to know how to keep those kids around and the youth around, you need to ask them. I don't think a committee of 50-year-old men know what those kids want anymore. It is completely different than we were children, right? I just drove by a park the other day, and I was telling Bubby, we grew up in the same neighborhood. That park used to be full, and you just don't see kids there during the day anymore doing what we used to do. It's different. They're on social media. They're reaching out. They're connecting in different ways. I don't think I can solve the problem of the youth. I think if I get a committee of those younger people and say, what do you want? What do you need? What will keep you here? I think they're going to know somewhat of that answer. They will know better than me. We've tried that here before, and it's failed. Every time we go to build out, and I know it's great, but pickleball courts are not going to keep the kids here, right? And that's good for a different demographic, and we need that. But for the kids, we need events, and we need things tailored to them, and we need to ask them what they're looking for. That would be my plan.
I think this is a quality of life thing, which I've mentioned before. I don't have a solution for the city of Keokuk, how the city's going to handle it. I would point to, we tackled that at the YMCA. In my first year there, we started what was called a teen center. And that first year, we had maybe 10 kids that would come in. What happened was when I first started there, that first summer I was there, I saw when the kids came back to school, I saw the kids coming to the Y, and we had a policy that you had to have a membership to go to the YMCA. And I saw us turning away kids left and right. And the second year, we changed that policy and we opened a teen center, and that teen center is open every day from 3 to 5:30 at no cost to those kids. We've had a couple people do a wonderful job of fundraising. Now we went from 10 kids that first year to the average census of 130 kids a day at the YMCA enjoying that teen center. Now that added to the cost, and that's why we did the fundraising. And the fundraising, now we have 4 people a day that watch those kids and help them and help with programming needs of the teen center. And that was all taken care of with some outside volunteer fundraising. What can the city of Keokuk do like that? How can we do that same sort of thing as a city? Our city courts and our tennis courts and basketball courts and softball fields, all that could use the help.
All right, we're running up on 45 minutes again, so give everybody a minute or two to give their outro, and we'll just start on this end and go back the other way.
I just, again, want to thank everybody for coming. It's great to see so many people here. We want to thank the Chamber and Joe for their efforts on this whole thing. Very, very much appreciated. I would like to be the can-do candidate for Keokuk. I have got the time. I retired in January and have the time to devote to it, and I'd like to do that. Through the volunteer efforts that I've put in before, I think I've learned enough about Keokuk and the type of things that will help, and I'd like to help lead the city of Keokuk to better days. Thank you. Which way?
Corey. Me? Yeah, sure. We're just going that way.
It doesn't matter. No, I want to thank everyone for coming. That was one of the things I put on Facebook. I said, I hope they have to bring out extra chairs tonight. And it looks like we did. And that's fantastic. That's one of the main things that I wanted to put on my platform, was just getting people back involved. So this is really neat to see. I do want to say, regardless if I win or lose, I will promise that I will dedicate my efforts in Man Country and all my guys. We will support either Bubby or Mark. If I don't win, I want to give, I'm going to say it right now, I'll give 100% support to either one of these people if elected. And I'm hoping they would be able to do the same thing for the other person, because this is not about me or Bubby or Mark. It's about you guys. It's about the community. I've lived here forever, and I really do, for whatever reason, love this town. My kids are here. That's why we started Man Country, was because I just saw this need, and giving back to the community was the neatest thing I ever had the chance to do. And it gave me so many opportunities, right? I got to speak at the high school graduation. I got to build houses. We got to do all this neat things through Man Country. Just donating and being a part of that was super special. And I just think this is the next step for me. And yeah, so I just want to thank you all for coming out tonight. That's it.
I want to thank everybody too. I appreciate you guys working hard and asking the questions. I appreciate each and every one of you, because I know that we're all busy and we have other things to do. I appreciate you guys coming out here. I'm glad to see the support of the town. Basically, what I want to tell you is about every business that I've touched or been a part of is still a successful business. The town, to me, is a business. It needs to be run that way. I think that there's a lot of stuff that needs to be looked at. I'm willing to put in the time. I know that it's a part-time position, but I'm willing to put in the time to make this happen. I'm willing to set everything aside and work for you and myself because, you know, I have a lot at stake here too. Like I said, I have businesses, I have kids here. I want to see the town grow again. I get tired of everybody saying, oh, all these towns are downsizing and stuff. Well, I believe that there's things that we can do to bring people back here and give them, you know, opportunity for a good place to live. And I just want to say this, that I'm not a dictator. I'm a leader that is only as good as his people. And I need your help. Thank you. And I absolutely would help whoever wins. Absolutely.
All right, thanks to all our candidates for sharing their time and ideas. And I'm sure they'll stick around to talk with anybody that wants to talk about it.
Again, I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Just remember, forums like this remind us that local government works best when the citizens are informed and engaged. So thank you again for all coming out and being engaged.
Connie, thank you very much for doing this.
Absolutely, thank you.
Right there. Just a few folks, yep. I think